All right, so let's take a look at what's on the front pages of our local dailies here. And on the front page of the Star newspaper, why court battle could force DP Ruto to resign. Why court battle could force Deputy President Ruto to resign. His resignation would mean going into election without trappings of power. And this is just like legal showdown, where Omtata wants a section of law giving him exemptions nullified. That is according to the activist Okia Omtata, who has filed that petition. And still on that, very quickly, the story of Mombasa doctors calling off their strike after salaries are paid. They threatened to begin their strike today, and now Mombasa doctors yesterday evening called off their strike that was to start today. That is Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacist and Dentist Union Mombasa branch. Secretary General Nasir Shaban said that they have received salaries for 2 months and the pending NHIF contribution paid in full. Earlier in the day, the Kenya County Government Workers Union Mombasa branch had urged its members not to participate in any other strike being called by the Health Workers Union. So, as it is, the strike in Mombasa has been called off. Okay, explosive court battle could force DP to resign, and now this is the flesh of the story. Deputy President William Ruto could be forced to resign in order to contest for the presidency on August 9th if a new and intriguing court case succeeds. The case, which was filed by activist Okia Omtata, also seeks to compel all other state officers, including governors seeking to contest for a different office, to resign. Now, Omtata wants the court to revoke Section 43(6) of the Elections Act 2012 for exempting the DP and the governors from resigning 6 months before election. Ruto's resignation, therefore, would mean going into the presidential contest without the trappings of power and state resources. That is what's making a full page here on the Star newspaper. Now, let me give you quick highlights from Omtata's petition. The first one is that the deputy president and governors should resign by February 9th. Exemptions under the Act violate the threshold for limiting rights, and public officers should resign before being nominated as presidential candidates, and as well as IBC be barred from enforcing the provisions pending hearing. And lastly, Section 43(5), 5A and 6 of the Elections Act 2012 be nullified. So that is according to activist Okia Omtata in his court battle that is most probably likely to force DP Ruto to resign and go into the elections without trappings of power. And finally, why Ruto swiftly moved to warn allies against incitement. Maduadua's law was quickly being turned into political fodder. Deputy President William Ruto has launched an aggressive campaign to further control the damage on his presidential bid, following warmongering remarks by one of his close allies, that is Senator Mithika Linturi, and fearing that the Maduadua's law had assumed political dimension. The DP on Monday warned his Tanga troops to be mindful of their language. Good move there. Good move there. All right, Jill.
Now, let me just pick it up from that point, looking at that particular story concerning this comments that were made by Mary Senator Mithika Linturi. That was on Saturday when he referred to the deputy president's opponents as Maduadua, quote unquote. And yesterday, we did see the deputy president coming out to comment on the matter and saying that the Mary Senator did apologize without withholding anything. But on the other hand, yesterday, Azimio la Umoja chief was in Kajiado, and he did make a stop where he spoke about this particular matter. And he went on to point out that, or rather accuse the deputy president and his allies of advancing divisive politics among the population, and urged Kenyans to reject politicians who undermine national unity and cohesion. And this was directly in reference to the statement that was made by Mithika Linturi on Saturday, and just saying such utterances threaten peaceful coexistence among the community. But away from that, looking at the main story here on the front page, this is in regards to the poverty state in our country. So according to a report that has been put out by the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, more Kenyans have sunk into poverty since the Jubilee government came into administration between the periods of 2013 to 2018. As per what this particular report has captured, more Kenyans have sunk into poverty. And very briefly, looking at this particular story, it goes on to give the percentages, and it currently puts, according to the world data, looking at Kenya's population, it has been estimated to be 53.77 million people as per the World Bank data. And out of that, 53% of this particular portion, which is 28.5 million, are people living in deprivation, people living in poverty. And according to the World Bank's definition of the international poverty line, it currently stands at $1.90, and that translates to about 214 Kenya shillings. But looking at the category that Kenya is in, that is the lower middle income countries, the poverty line has been put at $3.20 a day, and that translates to about 360 Kenya shillings, and 53% of Kenyans live below this particular line. And looking at boiling down to more details as per what has been captured, 36% of men in Kenya live below the poverty line, while 36.2% of women, a difference of 0.1, 36.1 in men and 36.2% of women live beyond the poverty line. But on the other hand, looking at the developments that our country has seen, we have seen a lot of government projects being undertaken over the years, which actually helped our country jump into the category of the lower middle income countries. But as it stands, it will take a while for our country to be able to translate these projects into benefits for the people. More details, we can be able to capture them on this particular daily.
Indeed, and if we have just a nutshell of the standard, the headline, Ruto feels heat over Linturi's whips allies. Of course, is in connection to what my colleagues have talked about, the DP talking about we are not advocating for UDA as a hate speech party, and talked about all MPs or all politicians allied to watch their words. Of course, a big battle for parties bill in Senate today. Talk about a fresh showdown looming at the Senate over the controversial coalition's bill as members convene for a special sitting today. And of course, you can be sure that KBC will be live from the Senate. Well, if we have a look inside, we have Gold Miner says it took the hand of God to come out alive and unhurt. A war was survived for 72 hours without food and water, but he was finally rescued. Something interesting also, 2 years, Ugandans, since the COVID-19 struck in March of last year, they have not been in school. Now they have resumed. In relation to that, Magoha wants politicians not to interfere with education plans. A loaded 2022, if you ask me, for the national examination calendar. We have KCSE 2021, KCPE 2021 grade 6 national assessments. We have 2022 KCSE again. We have 2022 KCPE, and we also have the 2022 grade 6 national assessments. All these exams will be conducted this year. And Magoha warning politicians, of course, being an election year, we expect a lot of fireworks when it comes to matters politics, and he has warned politicians not to interfere with the education calendar as the Standard 8 and the Form 4 sit for their national examinations, not to mention the grade 6 national assessment that of course is also on the calendar. With some more politics, KANU revamps its national elections board. Each party is trying to position itself during this. Of course, the campaigns will be opened next month, I beg your pardon. And they are now preparing, KANU setting up its election board. And inside we have the battle lines drawn. Senate is expected to convene. And yesterday, after the Senator Mithika Linturi was arrested and taken to a Nakuru court. They said, you guys are dilly-dallying so that he may not be in the vote today when the Senate have that special sitting. Of course, politics rented the air when it comes to what Mithika Linturi is accused of uttering during the Saturday rally. And of course, as we have said, a lot of leaders have condemned the speech by the senator urging Kenyans to have political tolerance. That's the standard.
Well, a quick run through on the PD, and perhaps I can begin from that story that you mentioned there, Troy. This in respect to what is happening in Uganda and the education sector, whereby after 2 years, this is a time where they're reopening classrooms after nearly 2 years, and this is 15 million pupils have not attended school in Uganda since March of 2020 when schools were closed. So when the president was reopening some big parts of the economy, the school remains, but at least as of now, it will be reopened. This is after 2 years. And now the story of Ongweno, which we ran yesterday, this is the story of the miner that was rescued there. I was actually being interviewed by the PD, and he said that no matter what, whether the poverty is there or not, he will not go to mining again. This is after he just recounts his story and what happened while he was caved in for those 72 hours. And again, this just was a very successful rescue operation that was conducted by the county government and the area national government constituency development offices, which donated those excavators and rock breakers. And also part of what was mentioned there by the county government is that they're planning to lock up these mines because of the numerous number of death cases that have been reported, especially in the mostly in the western part of the country there. And also Muturi says IEBC is given 14 days to respond to degree petitions. This is IEBC, as well as the Speaker of the National Assembly, given 14 days to respond to degree petitions that was filed by some members, saying that if this is supposed to continue, then it means that it will lock out some hopeful members. So 14 days to respond to that. And again, to some bit of politics, Raila Odinga says that Azimio will unite the country, and this is the way to go, just as he was speaking in Ngata Rungai, that is in Kajiado County, still popularizing his bid and telling Kenyans what he will do for them if at all he is elected. And remember that story of the truck drivers with coronavirus certificates who could not enter Uganda, or better still, ferry their goods there. Looks like there's a bit of a reprieve for them, as those with certificates have now been allowed to actually enter in and out of that country. And then lastly, advanced cancer test facility is now set up. This is at the Kenyatta University Teaching, Referral and Research Hospital, whereby Kenya's fight against cancer now receives a boost when an advanced screening facility was launched yesterday. We had this story last week whereby there was a bit of conflict, and this is because of the breakdown of that particular machine in KNH, but now a bit of a reprieve for cancer patients there. That is how the PD looks